Hello. Welcome back, everyone, for another episode of Digital Artifacts. This is the show where I, Ryan Selvy, your host, walk through different ways to catalog and document your life. So a lot of times we have things in the physical world that could be easily taken away from us, whether it's a tragedy or just things slip away. You kind of realize that over the years, these things kind of just accumulate and we move on. I know one of them for me in today's episode is all about living in different spaces. So I didn't move around much as a kid. I grew up in a house and stayed there pretty much my entire childhood. But ever since college, I have moved pretty frequently. This is now my fourth or fifth New York apartment. And as I move out or leave, I like to try to take pictures of these places before I move on to the next place, just because you exist in these environments so much, and then you realize that you don't have a good documentation of those experiences. Also, and this is Ryan's little technology brain vibe here, is that eventually with Apple Vision Pro or VR and AR spaces, I want to get as many pictures as I can so that maybe in 30 years from now, I have the opportunity to go and pull up these pictures and experience these spaces that don't exist anymore. But of course that could get really boring. It could get very tedious. So I thought, what better way to make it enjoyable for me than to find a way to make it a animated experience. So without further ado, I have a few different scenes that I want to pick through. I have some pictures taken from my dear friend Ursula Prince. She's a very talented photographer. She took pictures of our kitchen recently because she is expanding her portfolio on spaces for photography spaces and interiors and interior design. And then I also have a bunch of photos that I took earlier today to kind of work on a stop motion animation vibe. So I want to save the best for last, so we're going to start with my photos because I took them on an iPhone, and they're not as beautiful as Ursula's, but let's go ahead and hop on into Photoshop, and we'll also be doing a little bit of time in After Effects as well. So over here, you can see I've got all of these pictures. They're over and over again of the same thing, and if we pull open, I'm just going to go to open with Photoshop. It will pull it up for me, and we can see right here that it is a decent image, I guess, but it is not 100% where I would like to have it. There are a few things about it that I'm immediately noticing. One of them being is Roscoe has a cat toy down here, which part of it also, this is going to be really easy. Not easy. It's gonna be a really hard balance to have between the two of you want to have a proper documentation of your space and what you live in and the mess that it is. And this is something that, one day when Roscoe is no longer with me, I'm going to miss these little cat toys. But if we're doing it all for the sake of the internet and having a perfect Instagram life, we're going to want to get rid of that. There's also some trash down here. I took these earlier today, so I'm looking over and being like, oh my god, I need to sweep. And then there's a few different things that I did for fun. I edited these drawers to open up and come out, and I spun this can, so we'll be able to work on that. But we're looking at these and we're like, okay, cool, we can see out Ryan's dirty windows, but we can't really see a lot of the details here with the keyboard or whatever this thing is. It's an iPad. So we're going to want to make similar adjustments to all of these photos. Now, with that in mind, you can see that we've got a bunch of photos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 22 photos. Now, that would be really annoying if we had to go in and we had to make the adjustments, open them and save them and bring them back out. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to use batch processing, which is a function in Photoshop that allows you to go and open and record your actions and then batch apply them to a bunch of different stuff. Keys is suggesting that I just sweep it under the rug. Ryan doesn't do Windows Selvy. If it were up to me, I would clean these windows like crazy. But in New York, and this is not my first apartment that has had this situation, in New York, the mess here, the yuck, is inside the two panels of glass. So I've cleaned this side and I've cleaned the other side, but there's like moisture on the inside, and I would have to take apart the window, which I'm not allowed to do, and clean it. So these are as clean as I get, and it kills me because I stare at them all day, and I look and I say, wow, those look filthy. And there's also like a tear in my screen. It's New York. It's New York. Anyway, back to what we've got going on. A 3-screen computer. So what we got here is we've got my Cintiq. It's a 25-inch HD from like 2011. So it's actually like only like 720p. I really need to get a new one, but it still works. I still can go on it, so it's nice. This is the Elgato prompter right here. So right now I'm looking at your chat, and it's behind my camera. And I can see what you're saying, but it's showing me a screen because there's a screen right here and it's reflecting. So it's a prompter, which is really nice. I definitely recommend it. And then this is my nicer monitor, which is just an LG. And it has really good for having the screen that I'm sharing or what have you. You can see up here, I have some tape on the side because Roscoe likes to get up. Roscoe's my cat, likes to get up on the side of here, and he would normally try to chew on the side. So I put reverse tape, and now he does not do that. But if I take it off, he realizes it, and he tries to do it. But okay. So we have this adjustment that I want to make. So what we're going to start with is we're going to open up our actions panel. And my desk is so small. Griffin, dude, I know. I want to get, it's a standing desk, and I really want to get an L-shaped desk. But where would that L-shaped desk go? And also, I just feel guilty about getting rid of my standing desk. Oh, I guess he heard us talking about him, so Roscoe's in the room now. All right, so I'm going to open up my actions menu here. And we're going to create a new action here by clicking this little plus inside of a box. We're going to click that, and we're going to name our action. We're just something specific. We're going to say room light adjustment. Set default actions, function key doesn't need, color doesn't need, and we're going to hit record. And as soon as we do that, you're going to see that over here, this little record button has now been activated, and it has a red circle. This just means that we are recording, and anything that I do now is going to be reflected in our action that we will then be able to use to batch process and apply to other stuff. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to create a new adjustment layer by clicking on this little circle and with a dash through it. And then I'm going to go over to maybe levels. And I just want to kind of adjust this middle spot to bring it more towards the light. It's going to blow out our windows. That's totally fine. We don't care about those windows, just as you guys were saying. Clever was saying Ryan doesn't do Windows Selvy. The one thing I will say here is, like, I'm taking my time, okay? Like, I know recording makes you think that it's just going to automatically record everything that you're doing, and it is, but if I were to get up, refill my coffee, come sit back down, do another action, like, that doesn't mean anything to the computer. It just means it's the next action. So they're going to move in succession and go as fast as you can, and you don't have to worry about rushing through your process or doing whatever you need. I will say when you make adjustments, it will add more items. So sometimes it is good to go and just find what you want to do before you kind of like experiment. Because if I were to then like delete this and then add something else and adjust it, it's going to take all those actions and it's going to try to add that to the thing that I'm working on, which just adds more, whatever. So I'm feeling a lot better about this. I feel like it's pretty well lit. It's all I really need to do. There are things like this foam insulator that's falling down, or like this cord that would be nice to get rid of, the toy and whatever. But what we're going to actually do is we're going to apply that to just the main big chunk boy of the original image. And then that way we can just mask things out and stuff. So we don't have to do all of this stuff. And Apurva is, yes, commenting on my cat-free thing. You can also see down here, which you guys, I'm sure, are sure of at this point, is I have a acrylic cover for my keyboard. And that's not to keep it clean. That is the chat, and Wade almost banned me. So I bought this acrylic thing. Anyway, like I said, it doesn't have time on it. So you can see now that there are two different adjustments here because I had adjusted it, and that's fine. We can still mess with whatever. But then I'm gonna, in this case, I would like to go to File, Save As, and I made a new folder for it called Room Pictures, and I'm gonna call this just Room Pictures, and I want to save it as a JPEG. And I want to put it in edited room pictures, which I made for this. So I'm going to click save. You'll see that it gives me the regular options. I'll press OK, and that's even going to show up in my recording as well. So then I'm going to hit stop. And then what do you know? Now we have this room light adjustment action that we can work with. So what I want to do is now open up File and then go to Automate and go to Batch. And under this, I've already set it up before when I was practicing to make sure that this worked. I will set my default actions, and I want the action to be my room light adjustment. I'm going to use a source folder, and you can also use open files if you want to. And I am going to go to room pictures and select that and select the folder. It doesn't look like anything's in there, but there is. I know for a fact there is. It's just trying to remind you that you're not focusing on files here. You are focusing on a folder, not a specific thing. I don't need to do override open commands because they're all doing. Don't have any subfolders, so that's fine. I did turn on suppress file open options dialogues and suppress color profile warnings just because if they pop up, they pop up. Then I'm going to go to my destination and choose my folder that I had edited room pictures, select this folder, and then I'm going to override the action for the save as command. And then, of course, you can update different qualifiers that you have. So in this case, we have the document name, and then the extension, and starting at serial number 1. So then we'll press OK, and it will start to open and adjust all of these pictures that we have. So it's going through, it's editing them and saving them out. While it's doing that, does anybody have any questions? Adara put my website in the chat over on YouTube and on Behance. Thank you guys for joining in here. And then we can see that it's done. So let's go in and check in on our new nicely edited pictures. And you can see now we have all of these nice pictures that are now edited to be a thing. Oh, look, Roscoe's in this one. What's up, dude? By the way, guys, I got this thing, and this is a side note, but I do think that I love to highlight the the gear that I get. I got a Craft Geek mag stand, and this is essentially just a tripod. It's only this big, but you'll see you can flip it up and it's mag safe. So my phone just clicks to it like that. It can be a selfie stick, which is nice, but mostly it is a really big thing. Also, I'm about to show you guys this, but I'm also realizing that you guys are going to see that I am business up top, casual on the bottom because I have sport shorts on. But I want to show you just how big this thing can get. So big you can't even look at that. Isn't that great? Isn't that awesome? And like I said, you guys can see that I'm a phony. I have sport shorts on, but this is really cool. I really like it. I used it to take all these pictures so that I didn't move the camera while I was taking pictures. And then it has this little remote that comes off that you can charge with USB-C. That's just like a little camera button. That you can then take pictures or video with or whatever. So definitely like it. I think it was like $20. Yeah. So here you go. It is the Craft Geek mag stand. Anyway, moving on. So Purvis says nice shorts. Thank you. I know. It's a secret. Shh. Back into the screen share. So now we have all these. I'm realizing that it saved this one with double because we had already actually adjusted it. And then it did it on top of it because we had already had that image. So I'm just going to fix that one real quick. But all the other ones did a wonderful job. And I just want to make sure that I adjust this guy. So I'm going to just say play. It's going to say add. I'm going to say OK. Say OK again. And I have just had this selected. So then now I can go in. I'm going to save it as a JPEG under our edited room pictures. So save away. There we go. All right, so now we want to identify our main picture here. I'm going to go in and I just want to cycle through these guys. This one, I hadn't fixed my drawer yet, so I don't think that that is the best one. I started opening these. You can see how messy my drawers are. So I was like, oh, maybe I don't open them that much. I was like, I don't want to show everything that's in there. So I just did a little small thing here. You can see Roscoe is moving around accordingly. But I thought this would be fun to kind of have this go up and down, which would be nice. But I think this might be, maybe this one's the best. What is that? All right, so 9412. So let's go to 9412. Let's open it in Photoshop. And then I want to make this just my base layer. So let's go in and fix some of the things here that are not as nice to look at. So first thing being, I want to adjust this down here to get rid of this guy. There are a few different things we can do. I'm just going to do the spot healing brush tool. I'm just going to go and select and just kind of highlight this out. A lot of times, and this is all on system, I don't even need to use Generative FIll or anything for that. That's just going to, by default, get rid of that. I might want to clean up some of the floor because I know that these things aren't going to be animated. These are just things that... Is it really that dirty? My mom better not watch this one. She'd be so mad at me. She's like, your apartment is filthy. I'm like, I know, Mom. But I will say Aaron is much more cleanly than I am. So he normally leaves the office to me, and then I just make a mess. So you guys can see all my little weird crusties on the floor. I really need a sweep. But I digress. Now, you want to also just stay cognizant that any edits you make in here, you're going to want to make sure that you're not adjusting different things that you want to animate later. They're going to have to pretty much stay still. So as we make our way around, I'm just checking for any stragglers. Do I have a drawer that's completely full of cables? I have many drawers just full of cables. That's like my MO, and it's always been that MO. I'm going to go and I want to select this. And I'm just going to get rid of this cord because it's ugly. Is it real? Yes. But you know what? We're living in a fantasy world. So I'm going to use the selection brush because that's newer. I'm holding down Alt to just get rid of what I want to get rid of. And it's nice because then you can see exactly what you're selecting. And then at the end, I'm just going to hit select. So I'm going to go back to my little marching ants. I'm surprised you have the chair rollers on the wood. Don't use this for legal fodder, but I am a renter. And they haven't really scratched the floor for the most part. I want to use Generative FIll for this guy just because I feel like that's going to be the easiest rather than trying to make it force do a thing. All right, and then it will fix the curtain for us. Is there anything else over here? This is all stuff that I kind of really want. I still want to document. My diploma in the corner on the ground behind a plant. It's super important. And then let's also clean this up over here. You have a drawer and then several stacking boxes. Yeah, I know, right? That's it's just all over the place. Aaron's like, you don't even need to use these. I'm like, dude, you don't even know. You're right, but I don't want you to be right. Generative FIll. You have to make that noise every single time. All right. That gets rid of it pretty well. And the last thing I want to do is I want to clean this up because this looks ugly. But if you guys are in New York, you know that it can get hot here. So it's definitely worth having extra insulation, even if it's, you know, falling out. Ryan, I'm sorry. I know. How you doing today, Adara? Thank you, Adara, for being our moderator. Adara is also a fantastic artist herself. Wonderful photography. Would make me look like a big old loser if she took pictures of her own place. I wonder if I can do generative fill for here. What would it even look like? It'll be like, we'll make it more dirty. I'll be like, okay, that's enough. So we'll do generative fill. Generate. And you'll see that I don't even have to do the marching ants in order to get rid. Oh wow, it actually worked. Gosh, this, dude, I think every single day about how if I had generative fill when I first got out of college, I would be the CEO of everything right now. Be the CEO of Creative America. All right. So this is going to be our base one. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm going to save it as its own thing, just in case, because I don't want to overwrite what I have. So I'm just going to save it as base. And then from there, I will open up base in After Effects. And we're going to have a good time. Generative Dirt. That is a band name right there, if I've ever heard one. Ooh, look at this. You guys will see that later. I have to finish editing that video. You guys want a little sneak peek though? Look at the sneak peek. Spooky, 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 spookier, spookier. I'll teach you how to make that in another video. So keep an eye out for that one. Let's make a new project. And I am going to just take the base and I'm going to drag it into the project. I'm going to right click and say new comp from selection. And I just want to double check to make sure it's the right one. The stuff is missing. This is missing. We're good to go. The way that I like to do this is I then have a bottom layer that no matter what is good to go. I want to do the one with the can rotating, which I think maybe starts at 12. Let's see. Yes, it starts at, or does it start at what? Okay, it starts at, what is this? This is 11. So 11 to 18. So I'm going to go to 11 to 18, and I'm going to drag them in here, and then I'm going to do new comp from selection. It's going to ask the still duration here, and this is set to 14. It is 30 frames per second, so I'm going to do 3 frames or 3 seconds. And I wanted to sequence my layers so that it then goes side by side. It's using the dimensions from 9418. I'm going to press OK. Then you'll see that it goes like this. And it's spinning. Now, we also have a little bit of Roscoe here. We're going to be getting rid of him. But I'm going to rename this composition, and I'm going to call it Can. So we'll go back to here. We'll pop over to this. We'll put it right on top. You'll see that the chords and stuff show up. Keith says Ryan's about to drop his gangster album. Things that it goes pop, 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 and other insta hits. Yeah, I'm sure people would love that. And then, so I'm just going to put a small mask around here. And what do you know? I might need to make it a bit bigger because you can see that the adjustment on the mug, the reflection of the mug is there. Now we're going to go to time, enable time remapping. I'm going to alt-click time remapping, and I'm going to say loop out. And that just basically says to continue its duration just forever. Now I am noticing maybe I didn't do a perfect, maybe I spun it too much. So let's spin in, let's zoom on in, and we'll see how we can get here. Oh, that's because this is the 18. We don't want 18 at the front, we want 18 at the end. So we're gonna move this down. Also, how do you guys feel about the speed? This feels like it's backwards. 16 to 17? Oh, because there's 2 LaCroix. Okay. That goes too far anyway. This should be after this one, which doesn't actually make sense. And we'll see if it actually jumps too much. And what we could always do is we could also always cut it out and move it, but that gets complicated real quick, right? And so I'm gonna decrease the workspace here. I feel like it hangs too long on the LaCroix, so we can probably even delete that. Pressing delete, and we'll see if this spins. This spins a little bit better, right? What we could also always do is we could give it a little bit of downtime, which might be nice. And we could ramp up the speed at which it kind of does its thing. So we'll make the middle a little bit faster and then slow it down. You could do this with curves too. You can really have fun with it. But that already I can tell is too fast. So we'll increase it just a little bit. And what we could also do is we could also add an adjustment layer here. And yes. It is a Le Creuset, I think. Yeah, Le Creuset. Green mug. Love it. It's my favorite color. All right. So then what we can do here is I'm going to add a new adjustment layer here. And we're going to put a directional blur. I'm going to apply it here. And we're going to make sure that this is 90 degrees. I'm going to increase the blur length. And then we're just going to make a circular mask here. And then on the mask, I am going to feather it out a little bit. And then I'll also adjust this so that it covers a little bit more of the can. We might need to move it, but let's see. So can also adjust the blur length as it spins as a keyframe. So we'll click that and we'll change this from 0. And then as it slows back down, maybe this is 0 and maybe this is, it was 13, so maybe this is like 9, right? So it's, oh, I feel like it jumps too much from these two. So what did we miss? We have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All right, so we need to maybe get a 17 in here, maybe. I'm gonna adjust. And it is so important in this case, guys, to have a still, steady kind of thing. You have a Raspberry Pi mug. That's pretty cool. I didn't know you were into coding stuff. Let's see here. If we wanted to, we could even make it even like pop a little bit if we wanted to. Now we're saying that there is a little bit of jump here. And maybe a solution for that is to bring in this mask. Something like this, like that. And we can also feather it out so that it doesn't feel as jarring. And also, as we zoom out, it's not going to be as obvious. But this also goes down to mostly like fixing it in post versus not fixing it in post. And I think that that looks pretty good. So we're going to save because I haven't saved yet. Guys, always save your work. We're going to go to room pictures and we're going to say animated desk. Save that. Next up, we have our drawers opening and closing, which are down here. And I believe that was the first ones that I did. So let's go and open this guys up. The only Creuset you know is from Les Mis. You're funny. All right, so it's not that one. So maybe it is this Well, that's a problem because guess what? This one was messed up. All right, so we'll just have to play around with how we kind of function with this. So it's 3 through 10. So 3 through 10. So there we go. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to drag them all in. I'm going to say new comp from selection. And then we're going to make sure that this is the first one this time. And then, well, actually, I should include 10. I originally was thinking that I shouldn't include 10, but I should include 10 because that's where it lands. So add them all, and then new comp from selection. We're going to make sure that this is at 10, and then it's going to be set to 3, same sort of thing. Sequence layers do not overlap, single composition, and then we will have this play through. So looking pretty good. A little annoying that this guy here is out, but you know, you run with what you got. Oh, we don't need that, whatever this is, so we can get rid of that. What about this guy? So he should be at the very beginning. Or should he? I guess the final one should be at the beginning, right? Should start off at 10 probably. Or it ends at 10, you know, either or. They all work. So I'm moving it down, Control Shift and right bracket. Then we're gonna go over and let's look at this. Now, one solution we could do that will be a little bit time consuming is, since I know that that is the one that I want, we could always mask this portion just for the other ones, because hypothetically it should be able to understand what's going on here. Obviously, as we get closer, we're going to have to adjust it. And we might have to adjust the visibility of the path, but at least with this, it has some form of consistency. It's not going to be able to be visible for this one. Did I fix it for this last part? I did, because I am good at my job sometimes. It does appear that there is a bit of a shadow here, though, so we're going to do the same thing as going into mask, and we're going to add a small feather to it. Makes it a little less obvious. It looks like AI generated, which is so funny and weird. Oh, because it, you know what it is? Because it has it pulled out in such a way. So this is actually just going to have to be... How are we going to do this, dog? I mean, maybe we just adjust the path. So we go, and I am going to make it a hard stop. So I'm going to press Control Alt and click here. And then we're going to move this up just for this spot. That way it doesn't appear. And maybe we should have it go back and forth, you know? Maybe it should go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's a glitch in the matrix. Ryan, as proven by the repeating moving cat. I'm sure it's fine. Maybe, probably. Don't pay attention to the black cat. Did you guys ever see that fourth movie? I never saw it. I loved the first three, even though the second and the third one were bad. I still was so excited about technology as a kid that I was really into that movie. And I still never saw the fourth one. Which, you know, it's a bummer. I'm really excited for the new Beetlejuice, though. I thought it was going to be really bad, but then I saw that it got really good reviews. So the more you know. Holding Control D, and then that duplicates the layer for me. And then we're going to have to play again with the existence of the... Wait, does this not go to the top then? Because I did not do it. All right. Holding down Control. And then we should be able to bring this back. And we're going to flip these for the same reason. And as it makes its way down, it should. All right. So this is where it should kick in, right? It should line up perfectly. Hey, Alessandro, what's going on? You're in lurking mode. Thank you for being here in general. It's great to have you. Let's see. Whoa. Crazy bananas. All right. We'll do this and that and this. All right. We're doing pretty good on time. And then we will maybe extend this last one just for a little bit. Not for that long, but this is the same thing. If we wanted to maybe speed up, we could. And we could either adjust it accordingly in the main area, or we could take this, we're going to change the drawers. And what we could do is we could take a time remapping, and we could even do like an ease in, ease out situation, which can get funky when you're messing with time, but it can make for some interesting situations. See, I want it to animate faster than that, see? Bloop, blop. All right. Hop out of there. And basically what these curves do is it's just saying motion the second. So it's saying, like, I don't want it to move a lot. I want it to move. Then I don't want it to move a lot. And so it is just an animation curve. They're hard to wrap your mind around, honestly. I still get confused with them, honestly. Adding a circle, adding a feather. And then I want to do the same thing here, though, where I click Alt and loop out, because I want it to just be a looping situation. It's funny how, like, this is showing change. I guess because I walked over to edit it with my foot. So we're going to have to adjust the path to not show where I stepped on the carpet, which, like, it's so funny that that is significant enough to be noticeable once you don't isolate it. We can do the same thing here because I cleaned it up over there. Just gotta be careful with those shadows, but it still appears to be fine. Cool. And then one last thing that I did for this one, and then we can move on out of here, is I animated my mic arm going up and down. So there's a fourth matrix film. Yes, there is. The more you know. So what color, what number was this? All right. All right, so this is through 22 through 18. So it'll be actually 19 through 22. 19 through 22, but we actually also want 18 in there because with 18, that's at least the standard. So start with 18, same sort of thing, press OK. And then with that, oh, we want to flip this one back around. That was the big thing. So we're going to make this a second long. You joke. Purpose is more of a parody. Is it really? Is it like tongue in cheek? I thought it was a very serious movie. But like I said, I haven't seen it, so hard to say. All right. And then we're looping this here. It looks like one disappears. Oh, because that's the... Why does it keep doing that? Why are you doing that to me, dog? It's a no for me, dog. That's 2. So 22. 21. This is 20, right? Which means we need one more 19. I'm pressing Control D, by the way. That's what I'm doing here. And look at that. Now there's a bit of a flicker. I don't know which one that is. Now for whatever reason, 22 seems to be a problem child, but we'll see if we can still notice that when we add it to the base. So 9418. Oops, and I added the source file, not the comp. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to highlight the circle. And hopefully that one does not give us too much trouble. But it looks like it's going to. So we can play around with some filters in After Effects to see if we can fix that. But I want to go up. I'm going to do time, enable time remap out, alt-click time remap, and do a loop out. You can see there is a bit of that, but we're going to add a feather to it, and then we're also going to try to fix it in the situation. All right, so let's hop in here. We have one that's giving us a little trouble. It's this one, and we know that we messed with the levels, so maybe we can counteract the levels with its own thing. So what you can do is you could also open up a window of maybe like 19. And I want to lock this, and I want to do window. Where is it? I've done it before. Panel group size. I might not know how to do this right now. Primary viewer, always preview. That's okay. View options. There's a way you can open up another one, but it's not that important, so I'll have to come back to it. Put a pin in that one. So I'm going to go in, and I'm just going to adjust these just ever so slightly by dragging down this and see if it needs to be fixed in any way. So this seems to be lighter, so we want to just darken it ever so slightly. And that fixes it for the most part. I mean, it could go maybe a little bit darker. Maybe. It's a little bit of a change. And it's looking like maybe the whites need to come down just ever so slightly. And if you have a lot of time, you know, you could always go back in. You could always re-export it and adjust the levels. But for what we need, I think this is looking probably pretty close. Yeah, because that's just the... oh, how did I do it? How did I do it, guys? I guess because I locked it. Who knows? So let's see. So that's what we have, at least for this one. We have about 10 minutes left. And I said I was going to save the best for last. So let's go look at Ursula's real quick. But I like how this turned out. I think it's fun. It's very subtle. You can also always do things like you could zoom in or zoom out. You could add atmospheric fog. Maybe with like a solid, and then adding fractal noise to that solid, and then so we'll do like a fractal noise here. We're gonna make it nice and big. Basic. You can do turbulent smooth. No, let's do basic. Cloudy. Basic. And then transform, bring up the scale nice and big, and then, you know, you can add a evolution here, and then we're going to say loop out, and we're just going to say continue. That way it goes here, and then we'll put like a second in, and we'll say 1, and then it will do this kind of situation. And then what you can do is you can add a box blur on top of this fractal noise. Fast box blur, and just increase that. Adjust the iterations. I still like to have a little bit of this change up. And then for this black solid, all you have to do is you can do like lighten, or let's do something like a soft light maybe. And we can crank down that opacity. But then it just kind of has like a glimmering to it. You can play around with this a lot. You can try different blending modes. You can do like an overlay might be a little bit more. I mean, that looks spooky, honestly, but a little bit too dramatic for my taste. So I can always bring it down a lot more. And you can find ways to loop it out, you know. Add some grain to it if you wanted to. So you could do adjustment layer. Add grain. Always love to do that. It's going to give you a preview just because it's hard on your system, but you can go into color, application. You want to make sure it's at film, and you want to maybe like increase the intensity. There are some presets like Kodak Vision, or maybe Eastman. Let's do color. I don't want the color ones. You can also adjust how much color shows up in the shadows, which is nice. There's a lot to unpack. You can also just do final output and see what it looks like across the whole thing. And let's see if this kills my system or not. Hopefully it doesn't kill the stream. But I don't know if you guys can see it on stream, but it's bringing it up a little bit more. So, and that's just a way to kind of add more interest to, you know, your animations, which is nice. I don't know how much time we're going to have left for this other one, but let's real quick just loop this, and then I could show you maybe what I would do in ways that I would cut out pieces for this last one. But here we go. You know, we can continue to bring this down, maybe. It's going to have to re-render just because I brought down the opacity. But you guys get the point of it. All right, and then in our last like 5 minutes or so, I'm going to open up wonderful Ursula's pictures that we have. She has 2 different ones that I wanted to highlight. This one of Aaron's wonderful pegboard, and then this one of the kitchen kind of shot on down the hallway. And I thought what we could do for this one that would be really easy is just taking two pieces of it. And so I'm just going to take one. And we could probably actually even do this whole thing in After Effects. So let's do that instead. I'm going to grab that file, and I am going to drag the whole thing into here. And I'm going to create a new composition. And then I'm going to duplicate it. Or alternatively, you could use an adjustment layer, but I'm just going to duplicate it. And I'm going to open up an exposure. And maybe we take this, and I'm just going to crank that bad boy like all the way. Not all the way, but pretty high up. You can also do like an offset or a gamma correction. You want to just play with what it is. But then you can easily just add a like a mask. And maybe for the mask, it is kind of making its way around the room as if it were a sun or something else going through. You guys are talking about like DVDs and Matrix in in the chat, and I'm sorry that I did that. All right, so we'll bring this up here. We'll bring this down there. And same sort of thing, we can just feather this out like that. We can maybe bring down the exposure a tad bit because that's a little dramatic, right? And we can make this kind of warp its way across. So you just click max path, and then how do I want this to work? I guess it would work its way around the air conditioning unit, right? More so than anything else, I believe. So let's see how these works. Also, that exposure needs to be high again because maybe it cuts across. Just keeping in mind. Yeah, that's where the real beauty happens. That's where Roscoe has his cute little sunspot. And then drag this up to the end. As if the day is passing. And then we can even have it kind of like close into itself. And maybe when this is happening, it's like more realistically, it would probably get darker out. So just add in transparency and then bringing this down to 0. You can also do the same thing if we were to flip it and go to the opacity and increase it. So go 0. Maybe it's already moving a little bit by the time it kind of gets. And you can also do counter masks as well if you wanted to, where like maybe there's a shadow of some sort, and in that case, like we're gonna bring this full out, that way when by the time it gets down here it does the thing. And maybe this goes like all the way down there, because what we can do is in this scenario we can go into the mask, create a new mask, and just make sure that maybe like this is casting some sort of shadow throughout the whole day, quote unquote day. And all you do for that is under this mask situation, you would hit subtract, and you would maybe feather that out a bit. And then it looks a little bit more realistic. We can do the same thing down here, where we create a new mask. No matter what, this is always going to be a little bit shadowed. Oh, you see what happened here? Okay, this is a good call out. I didn't check to make sure that this was switched to that. So I just want to go and switch this to a checkered button. And that just says, hey, I want to continue to make a mask on this shape. You also want to make sure that you properly have the right thing highlighted on your layers panel as well. We'll go like that. We're going to do the same thing. Subtract. And we'll mess with the feather just so slightly. That way it continues. And you can do that, continue to do that in lots of spaces. But now look, when we play it through, it looks a little bit more realistic, as if there was some sort of thing. You could also animate this mask to move along with it in the same way that the shadow would move with it. But we are just at about time. I want to animate that really quick though. Playing with fire. So we'll go like here and move it. And then as we make our way across the day, we'll move it across. So then you can see maybe that moves too fast. This needs to be a little bit closer to that. So, ta-da. And then it feels like the day is passing a little bit more. And you can continue to mess with it, but these are at least the basics. So once again, we have that one. And then we also have the other one that we worked on, which was my fun little stop motion animation of things moving up and moving down. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is the last episode of Digital Artifacts for right now. I'll see you back next week for a new file new, which I'm very excited about. And I'll be advertising all about that. But thank you for everyone who tuned in. Thank you for being here. Thank you to Adara for hosting, for moderating. And make sure you guys check out some more stuff on Adobe Live. My name is Ryan Selvy. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Blue Sky. I need to post more on Blue Sky. But nevertheless, thank you.